What's up, fellows? We continue with our asset modular, in which we already had sculpted all the pieces, and now what we are going to do is to pass this to Blender. We are going to use GoZ, but before doing this process, what we are going to do is a process of lowering polygons. Because if now we were to send this directly to Blender, the first thing that would happen is that it would lower the levels of its division to the lowest one. That is to say, to this one, and it would send it. And we don't want that. We want the maximum level of divisions, but of course we don't want it to have 2 million per piece, because otherwise Blender doesn't like it. For that, very easy, we are going to do a decimation. We have this in Z plugin Decimation Master. And here we have many decimation options, but really the only thing that matters to us is the pre-process and the decimate. Before decimating, it is advisable, as a precaution, to do a bake of all the layers. Because many times when we decimate, the layers don't look good. It does not always happen, but I do it by habit, so we do a bake all, and we do a bake of all the pieces that have layers. Once we have it, remember not to smash the previous file, not to save over it, but this one is already another one. We are going to start with the first one, and we are going to make a decimate. We go to Z plugin, we can make a pre-process of the current piece or a pre-process of all. Sometimes when they are few, it does not usually give problems, but when they are many, the pre-process all fails. Even so, I'm going to risk it because there are not many pieces, and so I don't have to go one by one pre-processing. This is because it will cache the state of the part, and we will be able to reduce polygons quite severely. Of course, it will always try to preserve the detail. If we lower it a lot, obviously it fails, but we can work as a 90% long without losing detail. Because it will only leave geometry where there is detail. If, for whatever reason, the preprocess all fails or does not let you do decimate because some piece fails, it is probably because of the preprocess all, and you will have to go one by one preprocessing. Once finished, let's see if it went well. We are going to go to the first piece, this one, and in Z plugin, we're going to choose the decimation amount and decimate all or the current one. I'm going to go one by one because I like to do this by hand, because each piece depends on the polygon base it has. It will need more or less decimation. It is not the same to decimate a piece of 1,000 polygons than 1,000,000, then the percentage will not be the same, so it is better to do it by hand. I have these two options here, the decimate current and the percentage. So, I like to hit Shift F to see the poly count. Well, to see the wire, and I hit decimate current. Right now, it is at 20%. As you can see, it has much less polygons. It has gone from 1,700,000 to 300,000. Even so, I think it can be lowered more. Do not think that now if I add another percentage it will be over the previous percentage. No, this will always be over 100%, because the original piece is in cache. In fact, if we put 100%, we will recover the original piece. The only problem with this is that if we close brush and open, we lose that cache, so it is important that we do this without closing brush. We are going to leave 8% geometry and it still looks good, and now there is less density. Let's hurry up even more. Much less polygons, only 40,000, and it has all the detail it had before. It has hardly been lost, and this piece is now super light, so this is what we are looking for. There is a moment when it is true that it is going to look very bad. We are going to put a 0.1. So that you can really see that this... You can't see here either. Here it still holds quite well, but well, you see here it is starting to look bad. But at this point, it can be perfectly valid for both retopology and bakes. And this piece is super light, so perfect. Let's go to the next one. we are going to put 8%, I think we have done. They'll have a similar polygonal density, so the percentage will be the same. At 180,000 and 50,000, we're going to lower it a little bit more. And if we do not see any changes, then perfect. It is true that if you get very, very, very close, you can see a little bit of decimation. Think that this is maybe a pixel or two of the texture. So don't get too hung up on this kind of noise. Even so, save a version before decimating, as I was saying, in case you see that in the bakes. We can go to a version with more polygons and make a smaller decimation. But for the retopology, it is true that it is interesting to have only the volume and that the program, in this case Blender, where I am going to do the retopology, goes smoothly. And then it is necessary to modify a piece again because I have gone too far with the decimate, then it goes back. No problem. Okay, perfect. Let's go to the next one. I'm going to try this percentage as well. Now it looks good. 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 And let's see, decimate. Okay, that's it, perfect. What are we going to do now? Well, we are going to make color IDs. These color IDs are used later in Substance Painter to identify materials like wood, iron, etc. Here there are only two. That is, it will be either wood or iron. Everything will be easy. For this, I go to the wood, Alt-click. This must be done, of course, after decimate. If not, when we say surely the color is gone, because here they call it poly paint, but it is still vertex paint, which is to paint the vertex of a color. So in Blender, it works perfectly, and in Substance, it works perfectly. Let's go to the plugin. And here we can use the Z color. In the case that we have pieces with many colors, we could rename these colors with materials. Imagine, just in case, that you have to make many assets very similar, and then all have wood, all have glass, all have gold, all have the same materials. Well, if we make the same masks with the same colors, and we create a smart material in Substance Painter, if we drag this intelligent material to another element that has the same materials, as it will recognize the colors, it will have a very fast base made. This is to optimize the work. Here there are only two colors. I had them for Torchlight 3, so I'm going to reuse them. I'm going to set the metal to be red and the wood to be green, for example. It doesn't matter the color, it's just that they are different. And the good thing about Z color is that the colors are very separated from each other, and this helps the mask to come out better and not mix with each other, because sometimes when you do it by hand, you choose very similar colors. Click on Set Color. And now, I will give the color fill object. I have this fill here also. So if we now return to the white color with a space, you see this is already dyed red, and in fact we get the poly paint icon. So next, what happens if I lose the color? Nothing happens. If I hit the C with the mouse over the color, we will pick the color that we had. So fill object and this one here, fill object. Let's go for a moment to the Z color. And the metal. Well, I've done it the other way around. I've put the wood in. Well, nothing happens. Let's change it for a moment. The color. Fill object. And fill object and fill object. And here the metal. Yes, set color. And fill. 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 And fill. Now yes. If we go back to white, we check that everything has color. Perfect. And now we are going to save. Yes, this, but in the decimate version, to organize what I do is, if the modular asset 04, I know it is the last one I have sculpted, then this is going to be 04 decimate. And so I know that it is a decimated version 04, just in case they send me changes. I have to go back to the version without decimate, I modify it, and already, which one do I have exported? Do I have already finished the decimate or not? So that there is no mess. It is like, if for whatever reason I have to make another one, the 05, then I have the 04 decimated and the 05 decimated. And I know that the 05 decimated is the last one, because it coincides with the last version number of the file. I do not know if I am explaining myself well, but well, simply production issues to be able to go back. Once we have all this, so now yes. We are going to give the all button in GoZ that will send us everything to the folder that we have selected. In this case, I have created one of high poly, high, I have left it at the top. The names, as I already commented, it is important that they are not the same as these. I do not believe that there is problem because Blender puts 0.001 and ZBrush does not like that, and he puts, let's see, 001, so they are not going to coincide. All. Continue. And of course, it sends them super fast because they weigh very little. And there we have them. You know that you have to press this button to bring them to you, and we would have them. Then in the next video, what we are going to do is a retopology of these pieces, which I tell you is going to be very simple. So nothing, see you in the next video. Greetings. What's up, fellows? Well, let's continue. We already had our planks and our metals in Blender decimated, see? Few polygon. Let's see the poly count of this. Let's go to the overlays and activate the statistics. It's going to come up here. Well, if we wanted to see it the old-fashioned way, right-click down here and statistics. But well, I think I like it better up here. So let's get to it. How many? 900,000 polygons. Pretty good for the polygon amount we had initially. What do we have to do now? Well, this is in the HI folder. The ideal would be to rename this a little bit more human. For example, let's see. We are going to change everything with shift click. We select everything and now with Control F2. And we bring up the rename menu. And let's say I've selected it. Search and replace you search. 01 and replace it with high from high poly. We are going to give it OK, and now everything we had 01 has changed to high. This board, I don't know why it hasn't. Ah, well, yes, because there's a brush name of the tool. That's okay. It's blank. This is 1, this is 2, well, this is 3. High. Okay. Perfect. And now we are going to create here in the collection with the C another one. We are going to move it up, which is called low. That's where we're going to create our low poly file, our low poly geometry, where we're going to do the retopology. It consists of reducing the amount of polygonal loading into a clean mesh that we can use for the game. I'm going to save, and this is no longer blocking, this is retopology. Okay, so let's start right here. There are several ways to do the retopology. One would be to start from scratch. It's not a very difficult geometry. It can be done without problems. And another is to take advantage of what we already have. What do we already have? Well, we had a blocking, and surely in this blocking, let's see, we have this geometry and we can reuse it. Actually, this geometry as such is not worth much because the object has changed a lot. Maybe in this piece it is. And maybe even in this one, maybe in this one, but the woods that are going to have more geometry, I don't think I would bother to reuse them. I would just make a whole new one. So what I'm going to do is to create. And with shift right button, we are going to put the cursor 3 to create with shift A plane. Align to the camera. To the view. I enter edit mode. I'm going to scale it, but first of all, I'm going to put the shortcuts so that you can see them there. And now this plane. is going to be our retopology. Let's start our retopology. This would be the normal mode. We would have to activate the snap to faces and start snapping there. Another option is I will delete, I will select the high model, and I will use the speed retopo add-on, which I will share with you in Dropbox in the lootbox section you have. With speed retopo, which is an add-on that is free, I will leave you the link for the download. You know, if you like the add-on, you can always donate something to the developer, which is always appreciated. So this in F4, Preferences, Add-on, Speed Retopo. You add it, click Install, and put the zip file, and the only thing I change here is in key maps. But by default comes Alt, and I don't know which key to invoke the menu. I have changed it to Alt and right-click, just like that. You can leave it like that, but well, if you see me doing Alt and right-click is this, the Speed Retopo is Alt and right-click. Then here it gives us several options, Start Retopo or Settings. We are going to give it directly to Start Retopo. I believe that Settings failed, but we are going to give it Start Retopo. And it gives me the snap, the faces, the symmetry, and lets me create a vertex. We click it, and we will have our first vertex. I don't want the mirror. What I have added is the shrink wrap, and I have added it well, with the right configuration and aligned to the right object, not because I have done it through the selected one. And now with Alt and right button we have different quick options that I normally have them in favorites, but well, here in the add-on they come too. The most interesting is that we have the hidden wire, the in front and the width frame here by hand to activate and deactivate them. And here we have, for example, I don't want the mirror, so I remove it, or I want to see or not see the shrink wrap, or even recalculate shrink wrap, which is the modifier that we will use for the topology, so that the geometry sticks as well as possible to the high one, the one we are going to make low poly to the high one, but sometimes it breaks down a little bit, and there is a recalculate button, which will be this one. Nothing happens, let's move forward and we'll worry about it, so we'll see. With this little dot, as we have already activated the snap to faces, we can move with the G that this will stick. Now we can click E, make an extrude, another extrude, extrude, and here with these two selected, we go to the F and we can already fill in here. F, and we would have our first face. If I remove the hidden wire and we can see our retopology there. It more or less is adapting quite well. If we want to touch the offset, we can go to the shrink wrap and modify the offset. Here in offset with shift so that it goes slowly if we want to push a little more. This is usually good when we do not have the in front. You see that it looks worse, because if we raise a little bit the offset protrudes, then it goes a little better. Here, as you can see, you have to put the geometry because it sinks. Anyway, I will activate the in front so that it is always visible, and I will activate the hidden wire to see it transparent. The offset for the moment, I'm going to leave it at 0. I have created this first polygon a little bit in this way, because now we really have to give a little more love to this. I'm going to do a right click subdivide, or as I have in the list, Shift Q. So if you see me do the shortcut, you know what that is. And we're going to go connect this one to this, to the J. We can now remove it. When this happens and you dissolve with Ctrl X, if we deactivate dissolve vertices, we will maintain the form, which is what interests me. Ctrl X, and now we are going to go in defining all this. For example, here I am going to join it with GG, that is merged, and here we are going to make an extrude in this GG. Remember that this is a game, we can use triangles, no problem. Maybe an extrude, I think with GG we can join here. We're going to leave it here, like in the area where it's already elevated. And here I'm going to add a couple of cuts. If I select two edges and hit the J, then we'll join. Because I'm interested in the area where it starts to rise, that's where I'm going to cut it. I'm going to put another vertex there. Sometimes you have to look at the angle like this. Is it okay like this? No, because the high model protrudes a lot. So when you have to say, okay, here maybe I'll make one more polygon. And this I connected, and that's it. It looks a little better. It will also be necessary to make tests of bakes, and those that fail in some place, then that is modified. To the F from a corner. As long as you have the add-on F4, Preferences, Add-ons, F2. This does come in Blender, but you have to activate it. We are going to place it. The only thing I would say to you that we don't try to do micro retopology, that is to say that they are not very small polygons. We are going to throw something a little bit bigger. Extrude with the E, and let's go here with the F, for example, filling in. So this here, Alt D, and then we connect it right there. F, and we connect. I'm going to hide all this. Shift select, and with the H we hide, and so that the low poly doesn't bother us. Oops, I think I have gone too far in selecting Alt H. This, and the others, Ctrl I, Alt H, invert. Here with the F, and we fill in. That yes with big polygons. As much as we can, the main shapes. When in front comes out, and the hidden wire does not finish quite right. Sometimes this is solved by adding a solidify modifier. It looks a little bit better. It's not the best solution because it actually adds a little bit of thickness, but in edit mode, if we don't activate this, we won't see it. So that more or less solves that problem. Just have it there temporarily so we don't go crazy with so many vertices. If this object had not been modified much, we could practically take it out of a box and so on, or reuse the model we already had. But in this case, I think it has so many cuts, elevations, and so on that it is more profitable to do it from scratch. Not that I'm against reusing it, but when we can, it's okay, we can do it by hand and that's it. Look, could this be decimated very low and used as low poly? I have been asked this question many times. Well, yes, let's see. You can. And it may be that in a production you have no choice but to do it. There is not going to be. In-game? At least visually, a big difference. Then at the optimization level, probably yes. Because in the end, the decimate puts the policy considers, and here you take into account other things. Here you say, well, I think that there are things that with bake can be seen well without having to put geometry, and the decimate does not know that. We join it with GG so that they merge. Remember that you have to have the auto merge activated, otherwise it will be untied, and then it can be a problem. It can be solved by simply selecting everything, hitting the M, and doing a merge by distance, and then everything that is close can be merged. To avoid this kind of thing, it is better to make it active. If you see that the GG does not work well, it is because now in the snap it does not work well. What I usually do is to remove it with Shift Tab, remove the snap for a moment, make GG, and that's it. You can leave it active, I think, if you activate project individual elements with GG. Let's see if it gets better now. You can leave it like this, that the GG will also work without so much trouble, without having to deactivate the snap. What happens is that now you see snaps a little weird. I don't like it. So in the end, I end up deactivating it, and that's it. Here, for example, I think we need, you see, one more vertex. I'm going to right click, subdivide, or shift Q as I have, and here then connect here. And here comes another volume. So we connect there with the F. And we join there. I hear a little bit of chaos. Let's see. Let's look for angles that show us what we are doing. Yo, LTD. You know that with ALTD, depending on the position of the mouse here or here, we will draw a vertex towards this direction. I am going to do Ctrl-Z or towards this direction. It depends on the mouse. I want it here. We join. Here, and I'm going to put another vertex here, and this one connects it. The more things, I'm going to need a short here. I think, yeah, and I'm going to connect this. Let's do GG there. F. I'll add this vertex. I'll connect it. And we're going to need a cut. And here's the edges. F and fill it in. Extrude. Extrude. I think we can connect it. Here we do need a cut there. Let's see from one over here, I think. There and there. And here in this one. Filling. Here, Alt D and here. And this one with extrude to there. F. And I'm going up with an extrude. And this one I'm going to connect. And this one I'm going to move it up. And here in the corner with the F we fill in. Again F. And F. I will be saving it as we go along. Maybe there is some area that we have a little tension. This is something that we will also see in the bake. And if we see that something fails, then nothing happens. It can always be corrected. That's why it's interesting to test bake when you have more or less a geometry. So that you don't get to the final point and the bake is just a fix, but something that is clean. The better the bake is the texture, the nicer it will be to make the texture, and the better it will be. And this one, let's see. And likewise, it can also be done this way if we see that there's a lot of tension with just one. We join with GG. Here the same. I'm going to deactivate the snap or activate it again. Let's see here. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, well, there's not much bevel there. I think we can pretty much keep this more or less like this. So I'm going to plug in. Well, maybe at the end there's a little bit more. I don't know if I should open this up, dissolve it here. Do it like this. I think it's a little bit better. I mean, this is starting to get really big already. So let's add a little cut here. Another one over here. Cut here, and it's going to be pulling out this area that is sunken. Okay. We connect with the F. The F again. I'm going to make a subdivide here. I'm going to connect here. As I see it, according to the geometry below, it's not like I'm making it up. I'm seeing what I need below. I'm subdividing. And that, yes, always with the idea of putting the least amount of polygons possible. Not only for optimization, but because if later we have to add more, then there is no problem. But that the base is not a hell or a management of 1,000 tiny polygons or anything. To make small polygons, then you have to do it, and it will be. But at least that the base is as clear as possible. We split it there. Here, Alt D and this, I'm going to connect here, for example. And let's go over there, the turn. The F here in the middle to now take out the elevated area. Let's see how much elevated it is. I tell you that if it is very, very little, it is not worth it. The normal map takes care of it. Here we are losing the curve. It comes out a little bit. And we will have to fill in as we can. We go backwards. Alt D here. Now we'll see where we connect this. This one can go here, and this middle one we're going to subdivide so that it doesn't have to tighten up so much. We'll add another one here, and this one will connect there and here. We save. Here we look for the shape. Oh, we can see this a little bit better. Maybe with the matte cap, I have the ZBrush matte cap, the orb, so that it is exactly the same. And also we can add cavity to both, so that it's both the screen and the object. We can adjust it to a point that we see it cooler. And so that we can see the edges and the cavities, and well, maybe we can work with the retopology like this. I'm going to connect. Now with this matte cap, I can see a little better where things fall. We split it. We connect here. This one, no, I'm going to have to go up here. And I'm going to make an extrude, and I'm going to connect it to the M at last. Go here, let's see Alt D, let's make this shape. I don't know if we're going to miss a little bit of geometry here. I don't think so. Here, yes, because you see this. It can't be. I'm going to subdivide. We're going to add here. This one I'm going to connect Alta. Extrude. Extrude. Yeah, we're going to add a little bit to give resolution. Well, we're almost there, just a little bit more to go. As you see, it is a very laborious work, really. Someday they will take out something automatic and well to do this, but for the moment it is what it is. Besides, it is important. I have seen very good people artistically that make very bad retopologies, and they didn't get the work for that reason. So take care of it as much as you can. Of assets there is more room for maneuver, but for characters you have to be careful. This is taught very well in the Rocket Girl course. Where the retopology of a humanoid character is done. There and there. Here below and extrude. We join this. Fill it in. Let's see how deep this is. Well, it's not enough. Maybe not enough, but well. It's okay to put a little bit in again. Let's remove the in front for a moment. In front. To see more or less how it goes. We can put random. The retopo is purple. It's just a little bit. Let's see with the shrink wrap if it is just below. An offset, there's the retopo. We'll adjust this at the end, no problem. This whole central area is missing. I'm going to reactivate the in front. I'm going to cotelar and cut over here. Because I think that we are going to need to lift here. All this is here with Cottrell and an extrude there. This one we will have to separate it and extrude with the E. One more cut. There. What I'm trying to do is to connect this one with this one. Here's another one as long as it's possible. Now I connect FF. We connect and see what happened here. It's the one at the back. Not to confuse me, this is Poopy has put in. And this too. And this too. Well, at some point I messed up. It's okay. Let's fill in. I'm going to save. And the little piece we have left. We cannot join because we are missing a subdivide here. I think so now, F. We connect there with the F. So let's continue this, F. We paint a little more resolution. F, well, since it's a lot, we're going to add a cut here, so that we can join it with an F here in the middle. And this, we're going to connect it. This one, and this one, right here. Fill in, save. Almost there already. Okay, it's time to see what we have left. The front part is almost done. I'm missing the top here and the back part. These little holes here, okay? Extrude and Alt-D, beware. Alt-D, Alt-D, Alt-D. There's something weird going on here. I'm going to go to calculate normal. Even brings that option, the speed retopo add-on. It does not seem that it does not fill. We will insulate. I remove solidify for the time being. It seems that everything is correct, then maybe... This is the one that fails here. Is double. I am going to eliminate it. Was there double? Then we are going to put the hidden wire and the in front. We're going to subdivide there, here, and here. And I'll take advantage. FF. F. We connect them. Here we really need geometry. Yes or yes. Here we need geometry. We are going to subdivide there. And connect them. Okay, that's better. Alt-D and this one, we connect it. Fill in. I will set the offset to 0. I take advantage of this and take it to here. Alt-D and I connect it right here. Connect F. Okay, this way. I split it up. This shape is a little weird. F. F and this I connected. We're going to make a big polygon here. I'm going to cut there, Ctrl R. Fill in. And this. I think I can stretch it more up to here. Fill in, same. Up to here, and now we're going to connect this to the F. This one too. Also an orso. And it's just a little bit more. Here we are missing a cut. Let's take advantage of it. We fill in there. Here the F. With the F. And if we are missing one, I am going to do Z control. I'm going to fill in there as it is, and this one. F. F, more F. There and here we are missing Geo, Alt D. Let's go down here. Alt D and connect it here. I make an extrude. Fill in. Let's fill in. If we have more or less the same amount of polygons, well, it won't be too difficult. Save. Let's connect this one here and this Alt D one over here. And fill with the F. I think now at last the home stretch. Here we're going to be missing Geo. Let's go here. And this one, let's try here. Here we are missing geometry, or move this here, yes, move this under, this there better. F and subdivide. I'm going to join this with the M at center. And I'll finish filling this in. One F, two F. I think that's it. Let's see. In front. I'm going to isolate it. I will remove the hidden wire. No, we still have a gap here. Let's see the solidify. You're confusing me. Yes, no, we still have a little hole here. And another one there, wow. Well, back to the hidden wire. And we show again the registration folder. In front to see it weld and solidify so that it doesn't bother us so much. There. And we go down. we connect and we would be missing this one here. We are filling in here. Be careful with this. We are going to, and with the F, this one is already there and we are missing this hole up here. Another one. Another one there. F, F. This one with this one. This one and this one. I think that now, yes, if I am going to remove the solidify, we're down to 700 tris, that's fine. When we do a bake, we will see if we can put in or take out. Here, for example, I think we can add one more vertex. Over there, connect and connect so that it sinks in a little bit. And maybe there is some little thing to polish, but well, we'll see in the bake. In any case, I will save, and what I'm going to do now, I'll put a time-lapse video for you to see how I finish the other two tables, but they are still more of the same. Then we will do it as a time-lapse, repeat the process, and when the three are, then these will do it in normal speed and explaining the process. See you in the next video. Greetings.